Hi everyone, meteorologist Joe Chaffee here as we take a look at Tropical Storm Fiona. And of course, don't forget, you can get all the latest on severe weather outbreaks on SNS Storm Chasers and also on meteorologistjoechaffee.com and weatherlongisland.com. All right, Tropical Storm Fiona is right here, and top winds are 45 miles an hour based on satellite estimates. If you ask me, it looks I don't know, it just kind of has a slightly more ragged look to it this morning than it did yesterday and last night. But, it's it's just a small observation. It isn't anything major, and it's moving toward the northwest or west-northwest a little slower than what it was yesterday as well. But I want to show you, what's going on here. We've got an upper low up in the Atlantic, and this is going to be problematic for this tropical storm over time as to whether it winds up surviving or not. Conditions are still conducive for this to strengthen for another 24 hours or so, but then it's going to get into this area here where there is some southwesterly shear going on, and you have to wonder whether this is all going to survive or not. I'm noticing now, as happened a number of times last hurricane season, where people are starting to jump on certain weather models with regards to what they're doing down the road with this. And, I would just suggest that you take a step back and recognize the fact that you have to have, this weather system has to actually survive the shear environment that it has to run into. There are a few other things that are working in its favor. Aside from climatology, it's moving into an area where the water temperatures are exceptionally warm, and that could create a lot of instability and produce some thunderstorms in the core center if that holds together. So it might be able to overcome shear to some degree, but in order to get worried, to get concerned about this from a forecast standpoint now, when you don't even know whether it's going to be around in 5 days, is a little bit problematic in my view. Let me just show you the GFS model, what it's doing. Now, here's Fiona right now, and we're just moving it along, and it really doesn't do very much. It responds to that weakness that's in the upper flow across the Atlantic to go northwestward, and then it just kind of sits here actually on the GFS model from last night. It doesn't really do much of anything. Weakens with time. It's just about gone when we move through the latter part of this period. I mean, I don't even know how realistic this is. I'll show you real fast. This is what the Canadian model did that has a few people all worked up over. Let me just back it up. And I just want to point out that the Canadian model has made, if we had the number of landfalls that the Canadian model predicted over the last 2 years, if those all actually happened, we wouldn't be having this conversation because the entire East Coast would have been destroyed. This model borders on silliness sometimes, and here's why. There's Fiona there, moves north of the Bahamas, and then it just develops it into a hurricane and crashes it into the Carolina coast in 9 days. Now, the reason why it's doing that is if we look at the upper air, and there it is, it responds to as a trough that it forms out near 95 west, and the tropical system responds to that by basically being driven into it and then turns north and northeastward. But when you look at if you look at the GFS, it has nothing like it, much flatter look. If that were the case, this wouldn't even come close. If you look at the European, which by the way weakens Fiona and to a remnant low, not even close either. So again, I just want to emphasize that we're going to start getting into silly season with these models and what they're showing and what they're doing. Let's deal with what's there and what's in front of us, and then we'll take it from there. Real quick, as far as severe weather is concerned, there really isn't too much going on. Check out the overview here. Just a small area of marginal risk in eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, western South Carolina, and across parts of the northern plains and the western Great Lakes. slight to marginal risk there. But other than that, it's really pretty quiet. It's certainly quiet over us. So have a great day. Don't forget, again, meteorologistjoechaffee.com, weatherlongisland.com, and S&S Storm Chasers for all the latest on severe weather.